What drives a person to carry a grudge so deep it becomes their life's mission? What turns a peaceful soul into a patient shadow waiting for the perfect moment? Tonight, we dive into 3 of the most shocking revenge stories in history. And if you love dark justice, like this video, subscribe, and let's begin. Revenge is often portrayed as quick and furious, but in history, it was rarely quick. Sometimes it simmered for years, sometimes for decades. These are not stories of anger, they are stories of cold, calculated patience. A single word appears across centuries: revenge. It has shaped kings, toppled empires, and rewritten destinies. And in this journey, you'll see just how far a human heart can go when pushed to its limit. Imagine a figure in the dark, silent, steady, waiting. Revenge doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it hides behind a calm smile. Sometimes it follows you for the rest of your life. Across ancient maps and forgotten kingdoms, one truth remains. History remembers the patient, those who waited, those who planned, and those who struck only when the moment was perfect. Our story begins in ancient China, where kingdoms rose and fell like shifting storms. In the state of Yu, a young prince named Gao Jian watched everything he knew crumble before his eyes. The king of Wu marched with ruthless force, crushing the Yu army. Smoke filled the sky, bodies lay across the fields. Gao Jian's world ended in a single, brutal defeat. Lu, the king of Wu, stood victorious, his pride swollen, his grip unshakable. Yu had been broken and its royalty humiliated. Captured, bound, stripped of dignity, Gao Jian was taken to Wu, a prince no longer, a slave, a servant, a reminder of his people's shame. But what lived behind his lowered eyes was not defeat. For years, Gao Jian cleaned stables, performing the lowest tasks. Covered in dirt, surrounded by filth, he bowed his head, but inside, a silent storm was gathering. In one of the most humiliating acts, he tasted the feces of his conqueror to diagnose illness. Imagine the rage, the humiliation, the burning vow that must have taken root in that moment. He played the broken man perfectly. Every smile was a mask, every obedient gesture a careful lie. His captor believed he had crushed him completely. And so, Fuchai grew careless. He let his guard down. He believed Gao Jian's spirit had truly died. But nothing could have been further from the truth. Because what lived in Gao Jian was not despair. It was purpose. A fire so deep that it could not be seen. A seed of revenge waiting for the right season. In the quiet of night, Gao Jian made a silent promise. This humiliation will be repaid. Not today, not tomorrow, but one day when Wu least expects it. Believing Gao Jian harmless, Fuchai finally released him. To everyone else, this freedom looked like mercy. To Gao Jian, it was the beginning of his 22-year plan. Back in Yu, Gao Jian slept on rough firewood instead of a bed. Every splinter reminded him of his purpose. Comfort was the enemy. Pain kept the memory alive. He hung a gallbladder from his ceiling and licked its bitterness every day, morning and night. A ritual to keep hatred sharp, to prevent himself from forgetting. While the world believed Yu was defeated, Gao Jian rebuilt quietly. Soldiers trained in hidden camps. Every man knew the truth. Their time would come. In roaring forges, Yu's blacksmiths crafted weapons in secret. Sparks flew like embers of revenge. Every blade was a promise. Maps stretched across war tables. Quiet strategy replaced open pride. Gao Jian's revenge was not a moment, it was a masterpiece in progress. He sent Cixi, the most beautiful woman in all the land, to distract Fuchai. Her presence was a weapon sharper than any blade. Corruption spread through Wu like a slow poison. Ministers argued, advisors grew greedy, and Fuchai never realized he was losing control. Yu's army multiplied. Their footsteps were silent but unstoppable. The years of patience were finally reaching their climax. And at the center of it all stood Gao Jian, no longer a slave, but a shadow ready to reclaim his destiny. His revenge was ready. When Yu struck, it was with the fury of decades contained in silence. The armies clashed, steel against steel, echoing the rage of a humiliated king. The capital of Wu fell into panic. Flames swallowed rooftops, streets filled with chaos. The once great kingdom burned under the weight of its arrogance. Cornered in his palace, Fuchai saw his world collapse. The man he once owned now stood at the gates of his destruction. On the palace steps lay his shattered crown, a symbol of pride, now reduced to nothing. Fuchai had finally become what he made Gao Jian once feel: powerless. Offered mercy, Fuchai was given the same choice he once gave Gao Jian's father: live in shame or die with dignity. Gao Jian's revenge had come full circle. So I ask you, could you wait 22 years holding on to a single purpose? Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from, and how patient do you think you truly are? If you're enjoying this journey, take a moment to subscribe. Every week we explore the darker corners of history, stories most people never hear. History is a vast labyrinth full of shadows and secrets, and here we bring those forgotten stories back to life. One click supports this channel in a massive way, and it ensures you won't miss the next story waiting in the dark. Now let's step into a very different kind of revenge, one built not on armies, but on pure intellect. Paris, 1815, a city of elegance, ambition, and hidden treachery. And in its heart lived a young sailor whose life was about to be destroyed by envy. Edmond Dantes had everything: loyalty, love, and a bright future. But all it took was one forged letter to erase it all. His so-called friends whispered lies. Men he trusted plotted in candlelit rooms, and a corrupt prosecutor sealed his fate. Arrested on the day of his engagement, Edmond stood confused, betrayed, and powerless. His life unraveled before he even understood why. In the cold depths of the Chateau d'If, Edmond faced a silence so crushing it nearly broke him. There was no trial, no explanation, just darkness. Days became months, months became years. Time ate at his sanity, hope flickered like a dying flame. Driven by desperation, Edmond began digging a tunnel, a path, an escape born of sheer willpower. And then he found someone, the Abbé Ferrea, a brilliant mind who became Edmond's mentor, friend, and only light in the darkness. When the Abbé lay dying, he revealed his final gift, the location of an unimaginable treasure, a key to Edmond's future and his revenge. A treasure map, worn by time, holding the promise of a new destiny. Edmond's heart burned with purpose once more. The treasure was real, an ocean of gold and jewels hidden beneath the earth. Edmond was reborn that day. Escaping the prison's depths, he rose from the sea like a phantom returning from the dead. Edmond Dantes was gone. In his place emerged a new man, refined, controlled, unrecognizable.
Revenge had a new face. He became the Count of Monte Cristo, wealthy, mysterious, and untouchable. A man who moved among elites like a ghost. And every move he made in Paris was intentional. Every word, every gesture, part of a larger design. He ruined his enemies not with swords, but with markets. A whisper here, a manipulation there, until fortunes crumbled. In court, he exposed corruption with theatrical precision. Secrets burst open like old wounds. In private homes, he shattered fragile relationships, turning love into suspicion and trust into poison. And from the shadows, he watched. Not with joy, but with cold satisfaction. Like falling dominoes, every man who wronged him collapsed. His revenge was complete, yet it left him emptier than before. So, tell me, after 14 years of torment, was the Count justified? Or did the darkness consume him? Comment below. I'm curious, where do you draw the line between justice and obsession? Every answer shapes the way we see history and the way we see ourselves. Your voice matters here more than you know. Share your thoughts.
And now, let's step into Rome, where revenge came in a form far more chilling. Ancient Rome, a world of marble, power, and danger. And in its heart stood a woman unlike any other, Agrippina the Younger. She was brilliant, ambitious, and feared, a mother who shaped the empire with her voice alone. But her son, Nero, grew to despise her influence. He wanted freedom from her shadow, even if it meant murder. Their silent war played out in the palace halls, every glance a threat, every word a blade. Nero invited her to a festival on a beautifully decorated ship, a gift but wrapped in betrayal. The ship was engineered to collapse at sea, and when the ceiling caved in, chaos erupted. Yet somehow, Agrippina survived. In the dark of night, she swam through cold waters, refusing to die by her son's hand. Her determination was terrifying. Soaked, exhausted, but unbroken, she reached the shore, alive, defiant, unstoppable. She sent Nero a message, calm, polite, and sharp as a dagger, letting him know she survived his little accident. When Nero read her words, terror gripped him. He realized the truth. As long as Agrippina lived, he would never be safe. So he sent assassins, not soldiers, assassins, men who worked in silence and shadows. In her villa, Agrippina faced her murderers with regal calm. She understood power better than any of them. Her death became Nero's shame, a stain that history never let him wipe away. In Rome's silent halls, whispers of his cowardice grew. The empire knew what he had done. But Agrippina's final act, her message, was the true revenge. She exposed Nero's fear to the world. 3 lives, 3 styles of revenge, a king, a count, and an empress, each shaped by betrayal, each leaving a legacy carved in darkness. Their stories remind us that revenge may satisfy the moment, but it changes the soul forever. And in the quiet after the storm, one question always remains: was it worth the cost? If you made it this far, you're a true explorer of history's shadows. Like, share, and subscribe to keep this journey alive. And until the next story, remember, history is not just dates and battles. It is people burning with passion, ambition, and sometimes revenge.